Discovered, my amazing grandson's shocking outburst led to a life-changing reunion 24 hours later. The summer sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the backyard where the Thompson family gathered, laughter and chatter erupting like fireworks. Jack Thompson, a 68-year-old retired high school teacher, leaned back in his chair, a smile plastered on his face as he enjoyed the familial bonds around him. But beneath that smile lay a heaviness in his heart, a weight of unfulfilled dreams and the relentless passage of time. Then it happened. Alex, his 17-year-old grandson, stood up abruptly, his voice slicing through the jovial atmosphere. "Why couldn't you ever just put family first, Grandpa?" he yelled, eyes blazing with frustration. The laughter died. Jack's smile faded, replaced by a tightness in his chest as he felt the heat of family eyes on him, an expanse of uncomfortable silence tethered around the moment. "Yeah. You always talk about integrity and hard work, but look where we are. I'm struggling and you just don't get it." The words exploded from Alex, drawing gasps from relatives. Jack stared at Alex, his heart pounding. Was it anger, or was it honesty? Jack fought back the wave of guilt crashing through him, realizing that Alex felt trapped under the weight of expectations he never agreed to. As time passed, the sun dipped below the horizon, and the air thickened with unresolved tension. Jack recalled his own youth, dreams of becoming a writer overshadowed by the pressures of financial stability, a path he thought he would never regret. But now as he looked at Alex, he feared he was witnessing a cycle repeating youthful aspirations lost in the toil of everyday life. Jack longed to explain his choices, but the words felt trapped in his throat. The very next day, news of Alex's outburst soon spread like wildfire through the town, drawing attention from local news outlets. Media swirled the narrative into a cautionary tale about generational struggles and the true meaning of success. To Jack's surprise, the community rallied together, igniting a fundraiser aimed at providing scholarships for struggling students. Maybe something good can come from this, he thought, hopeful but anxious. The fundraiser became a lifeline for Jack and Alex, a chance to not only mend their own relationship but to confront the hidden truths that lay within their family history. They began digging through old boxes, uncovering letters and photographs that unveiled stories of sacrifice and ambition, tales that had long been buried. As emotions swirled and tensions ran high, Jack felt the walls he had built around him begin to crack. He was ready to extend a hand toward Alex, to let his grandson know that he understood. But just as he gathered his thoughts, a family secret, one that could change everything, began to surface. Would it tear them apart or finally bring them closer together? The air felt electric with possibility, leaving Jack wondering if this was the moment that would define their relationship forever. Jack took a slow, deep breath. The letters and photographs lay spread out before him, whispering stories that seemed both familiar and foreign. Dust danced in the sunlight filtering through the window, illuminating the faces of family members long past. Each image represented a fragment of a life that Jack had pushed aside, buried under adult responsibilities and the unyielding weight of his own choices. "Look at this, Grandpa!" Alex exclaimed, holding up an old baseball trophy. Its metallic sheen glinted in the light, but the memories it held were far more precious than its appearance. "You never told me you played." Jack chuckled softly, memories rushing back. "That was a different time, Alex. I loved baseball, but life took me in other directions." The regret hung between them like a shadow. He swiped the edges of the photograph with his fingers. A younger version of himself beamed back, proud and free, yet also blissfully unaware of the sacrifices that awaited him. As they continued digging through the boxes, a long-forgotten letter tumbled out, its edges yellowed with time. Alex picked it up, squinting slightly at the handwriting. "Who's that from?" Jack's heart raced. It was a letter from his mother, written decades ago. The familiar loops and curves of the cursive spoke to him from the pages. It detailed her dreams for him, her hopes that he would chase after his passion for writing and not get caught in the practicalities of life. "It's from Grandma, she believed in me," he murmured, barely above a whisper. Alex watched as Jack's expression shifted, blending nostalgia with a hint of sorrow. "What does it say?" Without saying a word, Jack handed the letter over. He sat down, feeling the weight of the past pressing heavily on him as Alex read silently. Jack couldn't help but notice his grandson's furrowed brow, the weight of expectation already evident in the younger man's demeanor. "Grandpa," Alex said finally, looking up. "Why didn't you follow your dreams?" The question hung in the air, heavy and imposing. Jack felt the walls close in again, a familiar dread creeping back. "I thought I was doing the right thing," he replied slowly, each word deliberate. "I wanted to provide. I wanted to make things easier for you and your dad. But maybe I was wrong." Alex's gaze softened, and for the first time since the outburst, Jack felt a tentative bridge forming between their hearts. "You put everyone else first, but you seem unhappy. I can see it, even if you hide it well." Jack wasn't sure how to respond. He was caught in a whirlwind of emotions, shame and pride intertwining, the clash of regret and hope palpable. "I didn't know how to balance it all. My dreams faded, but I thought I was making a good choice." "Maybe you can still chase those dreams now. What if we worked on something together?" Alex suggested, his voice tentative yet infused with a spark of excitement. It felt like a lifeline. The thought of writing together made Jack's heart race with a flicker of possibility. "What do you mean?" he asked, his intrigue piqued. Alex leaned in, his eyes shining. "We could write a story about our family. About your dreams and mine. We could give a voice to those letters and create something beautiful." Jack's heart swelled, a rush of warmth flooding through him. It was an invitation to rewrite their shared narrative, to interlace their struggles and triumphs. But as excitement began to wrap around them, a lingering fear bubbled beneath the surface. What secrets would they unearth? Would facing the painful truths forge their relationship stronger, or would it unravel what he had worked so hard to maintain? "Let us do it," Jack responded, though doubt still danced in his mind. "But I think we're going to discover more than just stories." The air crackled with anticipation, heavy with unspoken thoughts. They had crossed a line, stepping toward a future filled with potential. Now, they stood at the frontier of revelation, and just then, the phone rang, breaking the moment. Jack's heart sank as he saw the caller ID flash, his estranged brother, the one he hadn't spoken to in years. Would this be another chance to bridge old divides, or would it bring turmoil into their budding project? His hand hovered over the phone, uncertainty gnawing at him. Jack's heart raced as the phone rang, pulling him out of the moment with Alex. The familiar number flashed on the screen, and he felt an icy breath of dread snaking up his spine. Should he answer? After all these years, what could his brother possibly want? But deep down, a spark of hope flickered. Maybe this was what they both needed. "Are you going to get that?" Alex asked, his expression shifting from excitement to concern. Jack hesitated, catching Alex's eye. He finally took a deep breath and swiped the green icon. "Hello? Jack?" The familiar voice, laced with years of unresolved tension, broke through the static. "Yeah, it's me," Jack replied, his voice steadier than he felt. "I know it's been a long time," his brother started, each word heavy with unspoken history. "But I heard from Mom's old friends that you were going through some things. I just wanted to check in." Jack's throat tightened. "What do you really want, Dave?" After a brief silence, Dave spoke again, softer this time. "I want to talk, Jack. I want to be a part of whatever it is you're building with Alex. I don't want to miss out anymore." The admission struck Jack like a punch to the gut. Part of him yearned for reconciliation, the other part screamed against it. He looked over at Alex, who watched him with wide, questioning eyes. Jack could feel the tension building like a balloon stretching to its limit, ready to burst at any moment. "Look, I'm working on something important with Alex," Jack said, forcing the words out despite the clenching in his chest. "Maybe it's not the best time." "Jack, please. I know I messed up. I was selfish, and I hurt everyone. But I'm trying to change that, Dave pressed. The sincerity in his voice was undeniable. Jack's heart pounded. Could he trust his brother? And why now? Why after all these years? We can't just pick up where we left off, Jack replied, a mix of anger and longing swirling inside him. You don't just get to come back and expect everything to be okay. I get that. But I don't want my past to dictate our future, Dave said urgently, his words tumbling out. Can we at least talk? Jack felt the weight of Alex's gaze. His grandson's presence was a reminder of the future entwined with hope. Connecting with Dave could either heal old wounds or tear open new ones. But wasn't he healing something he'd wanted for years? I'll think about it, Jack said at last, his voice steadier now, resolute. Okay. Just don't wait too long, Dave replied, a hint of vulnerability threading through his tone before the line went dead. Jack hung up, a wave of uncertainty crashing over him. What was that about? Alex asked, curiosity mixed with worry. Jack felt the burden of the decision press down on him. Just family things, he said quietly, the words tasting foreign on his tongue. Alex nodded slowly, processing. Do you think he's really changed? I don't know, Jack admitted, rubbing the back of his neck. But we can't ignore the past forever. The moment felt heavy, pregnant with possibilities. They both stood at a fork in the road, each option holding the chance for growth or pain. Are you okay, Grandpa? Alex asked, his concern wrapping around Jack like a warm embrace. Yeah, it's a lot to process, Jack replied, his heart still racing. But we've got something important to do together, right? Alex's smile returned, stirring the air with a sense of purpose. Right. Let's start writing. We'll figure the rest out later. They moved back to the letters and photographs, the remnants of memories flaring to life in the quiet room. But a nagging thought lingered in Jack's mind, persistent and troubling. Was reaching out to his brother a step towards healing, or would it just reopen old wounds? As they settled in to write, he couldn't shake the feeling that his brother's call was only the beginning, a ripple in a pond, hinting at something bigger about to unfold. Would the arrival of his brother bring a twist in their story, or was it just another complication thrown into the mix? Jack sat at the table, fingers hovering over the stack of old photographs. They had so much in common, him and Alex. Both of them held pieces of the past that needed sorting through. Meanwhile, the phone rested ominously on the surface, a subtle reminder of the weight of family as it echoed in the silence of the room. Which one is this? Alex asked, studying a faded photo of a younger Jack, hands on his hips, a messy backyard in the background. That's me and Dave, back when we used to build crazy forts out of old sheets. We thought we could conquer the world, Jack replied, forcing a smile. The nostalgia washed over him, flickering like an old film reel. But it was quickly overshadowed by the fear that their fort had more cracks than he remembered. Their essay story, Alex said, leaning in with excitement. You should tell me. Just as that flicker of a smile began to shine brighter, Jack's phone chimed with a notification, shattering his moment. It was a text from an unknown number. Who is it? Alex asked, glancing sideways. Jack cast a wary eye at the screen. I don't know, could be a spam. Open it. Alex urged, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Jack hesitated but then swiped his thumb across the screen. I hope you can forgive me, it read. I'm ready to talk whenever you are. Dave. Jack felt his heart sink. How could he deal with this right now? Alex's eyes darted back and forth, sensing his tension. Is it your brother again? Yeah, Jack eventually admitted. The warmth from the memories suddenly felt far away as a chill settled in. He's really trying. But can I trust him? What does your gut say? Alex asked, leaning closer. Jack considered this. His gut churned. It wasn't just about trust anymore, It was about vulnerability, about turning towards the very wounds he had kept closed for so long. I want to say yes, but... Jack paused, the weight of the unsaid hung in the air. Last time we spoke, it ended in pieces. I don't want to go through that again. But what if this could be a chance for a different outcome? Alex suggested, his tone strangely wise for a boy of his years. You can't predict what might happen, but you owe it to yourself to find out, right? The words struck Jack deeply. His grandson was right. He had been focusing too much on fear rather than the potential to heal. Maybe you're right, Jack finally said, his voice barely a whisper. Alex offered a small smile, the kind that seemed to show a glimpse of boundless hope. You could write him back. Just be honest with how you feel. Jack nodded, realizing that the act of reaching out could be the first step toward reclaiming lost parts of his life. But it felt monumental, as if he was standing on a precipice, peering into unknown depths. Yes. I'll write back, he decided, resolve beginning to stir within him. Just as he was about to pick up a pen, Alex leaned in conspiratorially, a light in his eyes. And if things get messy? You said you were working on something important with me. Let us keep writing our story together, no matter what. At that moment, Jack felt a warmth blossoming inside him. He could almost see their shared journey stretching out before them, unfurling with possibilities. As he began to draft a reply to Dave, Jack felt Alex's small hand on his back, reassuring him. But doubts whispering in his mind still lingered. If he opened this door, would the past swallow them whole, or could they step through and finally create a new chapter together? All right, let us see where this takes us, Jack murmured, resolution hardening in him as he put pen to paper. He was ready to confront the complexities of family, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something larger was about to unfold. Then, he heard the faintest echo of laughter from outside, children playing in the summer sun. In the corners of his mind, change felt tantalizingly close, as though a storm was brewing, ready to break. What awaited him on the other side of that written correspondence? Would it be a promise of reconciliation, or another round of shattered expectations? Jack's pen hovered above the paper, his thoughts swirling like fallen leaves in a brisk autumn wind. The words felt both daunting and liberating, each letter a potential bridge or a pitfall. Would he simply write, "I received your message," or plunge deeper into the labyrinth of feelings he'd avoided for so long? Alex kept watching him, his gaze heavy with anticipation. You okay, Grandpa? He asked, the concern clear in his bright eyes. Just thinking, Jack replied, glancing at Alex. This wasn't just about the reconnect, it was a reckoning, a gamble. Was he really ready to face Dave after all these years? Start with what you really feel, Alex encouraged. Just be honest. Taking a breath, Jack put pen to paper and began to scribble, the ink flowing like a slowly opening wound. I'm not sure how to feel, he wrote. It's been a long time since we communicated. A pause lengthened after that, and he stared at the scribbled line. What happened, Grandpa? Alex's voice cut through the heavy silence. Jack sighed, memories flooding back like a tidal wave. We had our differences. Life got complicated. Hurtful words were said on both sides. Maybe this is the moment to let those words fade? Alex said softly. You can change the story. The way Alex spoke, so earnestly, ignited something within Jack. He picked up the pace with the pen. I want to understand why you've reached out now. I've carried a lot of weight all these years, see? It's coming together. Alex exclaimed, beaming. Jack couldn't ignore the hope radiating from his grandson. It was infectious, in a way that pushed aside his own fears. As he continued, each word felt like peeling back layers of a painting buried under years of dust. But I'm scared, too scared. Okay, Grandpa. It means this matters, Alex said, his voice unwavering. It felt good to bear his feelings, to share the fear that clawed at his gut. Jack concluded with an invitation. I'm willing to talk, Dave. Let us see where this goes. He let the final period settle on the page, a small but powerful act. "I did it," Jack breathed, relief washing over him like warm sunlight breaking through clouds. "Of course you did. See? Easy peasy. Now let us celebrate." Alex jumped up, his joy bursting forth like fireworks. Jack laughed, the tension lifting. "What do you want to do? Let us go outside. We can build a fort, just like you did with Dave." Jack felt an unexpected warmth bloom. "All right, let us do it." They headed to the backyard, laughter trailing behind them like a kite set loose in the wind. As they stacked blankets and propped up chairs, Jack let the hum of nervousness fade, the childlike joy replacing it. Suddenly, Alex paused and looked at Jack seriously. "What if he doesn't reply?" Jack froze mid-motion. The question loomed like a shadow, heavy and unyielding. He didn't have an answer. "Then we keep building our fort, Alex. We keep building." "Okay." Alex nodded, but uncertainty flickered across his face. They sat inside the makeshift fort, the sun glowing through the gaps in the sheets. And for a moment, amidst laughter and chaos, Jack thought about the letter. What if this was just the beginning? A decisive moment that could spiral into something beautiful or catastrophic? As the sun began to dip, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, Jack felt a flutter in his heart. There was still a long road ahead. Would Dave respond like the brother he once knew, or would he be grappling with ghosts of the past? The wind carried their laughter and hopes, swirling them into something unknown and thrilling. What if the next message brought answers or even more questions? As twilight descended, Jack's heart raced at the thought of what tomorrow might hold. Morning light filtered through the windows, casting soft rays across Jack's cluttered desk. The unease from the night previous lingered, curling around his heart like wispy clouds. He fetched a cup of coffee, the familiar scent offering a brief sense of comfort. Yet, there was a weightier question in the air: would Dave respond? Alex bounded down the stairs, energy radiating like the sun. "Good morning," he chirped, his grin lighting up the room. "Did you hear anything yet?" Jack shook his head, feeling a twist in his stomach. "No, not yet." Alex's expression dropped a touch. "But it's still early, right? Maybe he just needs a bit of time." "Yeah, maybe." Jack forced a smile, not wanting to dampen his grandson's spirits. But behind that smile, a gnawing uncertainty took root. What if that letter was destined to remain unanswered? They set out for a morning walk to the small park down the street. Leaves crunched beneath their feet, a sound both nostalgic and grounding. As they strolled, Alex chattered away, weaving stories and questions about school, friends, and dreams. Jack couldn't help but admire the purity of his grandson's enthusiasm. "Grandpa?" Alex paused, looking up with a furrowed brow. What if he doesn't want to talk? What if he is still angry? Jack's heart sank again, heavy with a past he desperately wanted to set right. "If he doesn't want to talk, we'll have to respect that," Jack replied, feeling the weight of each word. "But that doesn't mean we stop trying. You taught me that." "But what if he doesn't respond at all?" Alex's eyes shimmered with concern. "Then we keep building," Jack repeated, grounding himself in their earlier moment. "We find joy in things we can control. Like making forts and playing catch." The park was alive, filled with the laughter of children, the sound so innocent and hopeful. Jack watched as Alex joined the others, running and shouting, losing himself in the exuberance of youth. For a moment, Jack was caught in reverie, remembering days spent similarly with Dave. He longed for that connection again. As they headed home, Jack's phone buzzed, a sharp sound that sliced through his thoughts. His heart raced with hope, fear, simmers of excitement. When he glanced at the screen, disbelief washed over him. A message from Dave, with a simple "Hey Jack, I got your letter." Alex, walking beside him, immediately noticed the change in Jack's face. "What is it?" With shaky hands, Jack opened the message. His eyes scanned the words, and confusion flickered across his brows. He wants to know if we can talk today. Today? Alex echoed, bouncing on his feet. That's amazing. Yeah, I think so. Jack's heart thundered. This could be the breakthrough he'd been waiting for, or a painful confrontation. I didn't expect this to happen so soon. What do you want to say? Alex asked, eyes wide with curiosity. I don't know yet, Jack admitted, rubbing the back of his neck nervously. Maybe I'll just be honest again, just like with the letter. They reached home, and Jack's mind spiraled with possibilities. What would he say? How much would they need to unpack? Anxiety and hope danced together in his chest. As Alex ran to grab some snacks, Jack sank into a chair, staring at the phone. Would today change everything? Moments later, as he sat lost in thought, Jack's phone buzzed again. A new message from Dave came through. Let us meet at our favorite spot. Jack's heart raced. It was the very place where they once shared laughter and dreams under the big oak tree by the old playground. Okay, he whispered to himself. The breathlessness surged within him. What if this was the moment that determined their future? Would they find a way to reconnect, or had too much time passed to mend the ruptured bond? As he heard footsteps approaching, Jack braced himself, knowing the next hour could shift their lives forever. Jack's heart raced as he laced up his shoes, the world outside his window blurred by anticipation. His thoughts raced faster than his heartbeat. Underneath the hope lay a thick layer of dread. Could he really face Dave after all these years? The memories of their last confrontation echoed in his mind, taunting him with their bitterness. Alex returned, snacks in hand, oblivious to the turmoil brewing in Jack's chest. Ready for the big reunion? He asked, his innocence shining brightly. Jack nodded but felt a lump in his throat. Can we make a fort after you talk to him? Alex suggested, his excitement a soothing balm. Of course, Jack replied, managing a smile. Forts are where all the best stories happen. As they stepped outside, the day felt charged with energy. Jack could see the old park from a distance, trees swaying gently, the detective of the past whispering memories with every rustle. Jack swallowed hard, his hands shaking as he reached for his phone one last time to check if Dave had sent any more messages. Nothing new. Let us go, Jack urged, and they made their way down the street. The closer they got to the oak tree, the more Jack's nerves intensified. He felt like a young boy again, waiting for his father to notice him from across the playground. What would Dave say? Would he still carry the weight of the resentment, or would he feel the longing for connection that bubbled beneath the surface? Once they arrived, Jack noticed the familiar outline of the tree, still standing strong, its shade welcoming. You remember this spot? He asked Alex, pointing toward the sprawling branches that had once sparked joy in their childhood adventures. Of course. It's like our secret place. Alex ambled closer, tugging at Jack's hand to move toward the tree. Just then, Jack spotted Dave walking toward them. Time paused. His heart sank and then soared, warring emotions trapping him in indecision. All those memories washed over him, laughter, arguments, dreams shared beneath that tree. Would they be able to push the past aside? Hey, Dave greeted, his voice softer than Jack expected. But there was a wariness in his eyes that made Jack's heart plummet again. Hey, thanks for coming, Jack replied, forcing the words past his lips. Dave looked down at Alex, who had instantly become the bridge between them, radiating innocence and joy. You've grown, he acknowledged, a hint of nostalgia threading through the tone. Yeah. Grandpa's a great teacher. Alex beamed. Silence hung heavy between the two men, a void filled with unspoken words. Jack felt the heaviness of it all pressing down on him, making him uncomfortable. I know we have a lot to talk about, he began, but the words faltered in his throat. Yeah, we do, Dave replied, glancing away, the tension palpable in the air. Jack took a deep breath. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. For everything. At this, Dave turned his gaze back to Jack, surprise flickering across his expression. Jack saw a crack in the armor he had worn for so long. "You're not the only one who needs to apologize," Dave finally admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Alex shifted from one foot to the other, sensing the heaviness grow. "What does that mean?" he asked innocently. Jack opened his mouth to explain but stopped, realizing this wasn't just about him and Dave anymore. This was about Alex, who deserved to know both sides of their history, a history filled with pain but also the potential for healing. With a new resolve, Jack decided it was time to dive deeper, to lay everything out on the table. He didn't just want to save face, he wanted to save their family. Would revealing the painful truths help them reconnect, or would it tear them further apart? Jack felt the choice of his words weigh on him like the summer heat, intense and unyielding. What had he started? As the conversation deepened, the sun began to set, casting long shadows that danced around them, echoing the complexities of their relationship. Whatever happened next would change everything. Jack could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. It was time to break the silence, to bring forth the truth that had lingered like a ghost between him and Dave for far too long. He glanced at Alex, who was watching their interaction with wide eyes, unaware of the storm brewing around them. "Before anything else, there's something you need to know, both of you," Jack started, his voice shaky but firm. "What happened between us, it wasn't just my fault. We all played a part, and it's time we faced that." "What do you mean?" Dave asked, his brow furrowing slightly. "The last few years everything got so twisted. I thought I was doing what was best for our family, but I was blinded by my own pride and anger." Jack's heart raced. The scent of grass, warm and inviting, wrapped around him. "I pushed you away without even realizing it, Dave. I was mad at you, and honestly, I was mad at myself too." Dave looked pained, as if the words struck a chord he had tried to silence. He shifted his weight, standing taller. "I wanted to come back, to fix things. I did what I thought was necessary to protect myself. But it hurt both of us." Jack noticed how Alex's expression softened, his childlike curiosity taking over the heavy atmosphere. "Can we still be friends?" he piped up, his innocent voice breaking through the tension. This was his first step toward understanding the complexities of their tangled relationships, and it made Jack's heart swell. Dave knelt down, pulling Alex's attention fully to him. "Of course we can, buddy. It just takes a bit of work sometimes, you know?" His eyes searched Jack's, a silent agreement haunting them. Jack felt a flicker of hope spark within him, pushing him to continue. "But the past is just that, the past. Let us not be defined by it. We need to rebuild." The sun dipped lower, spilling golden light across their faces, painting everything in warmth. Dave nodded slowly, a storm of emotions evident in his gaze. "I think I've avoided confronting this for too long. I didn't want to feel the hurt anymore." "I get it," Jack replied, feeling solidarity swell between them. "It's scary. But if we don't face it together, we're just letting the past hold us hostage." Silence fell, a soft breeze whispering through the leaves. Jack could see the wheels turning in Dave's mind, the struggle to reconcile his anger with the desire for a fresh start. "So, what do we do now?" Dave finally asked, vulnerable yet ready. "I think we start small. Share stories, remember the good times, and face the bad ones too. Let us teach Alex about us." Jack turned to Alex, who was nodding enthusiastically, his eyes sparkling with that pure childhood wonder. "Can we make a fort first?" Alex interjected with excitement, his earlier concern melting away. Laughter bubbled up from Jack and Dave, surprising them both as it filled the space with a lightness they hadn't felt in years. Just maybe, this was the beginning of healing. Jack could feel the shift in energy, the past loosening its grip. "After the fort, let us promise to talk more. There's so much to uncover." As they moved toward the oak tree, a flurry of thoughts raced through Jack's mind. They were both stepping into uncharted territory, a place where vulnerability and openness could pave the way for family restoration. Suddenly, Jack remembered the last time they sat under this tree, the laughter, the innocence. What if there were still fragments of their childhood joy hidden beneath scars? As they gathered branches and leaves, Jack's heart swelled with anticipation. Could they really build something new from the ruins? Could all three of them finally face what had been lost and reclaim it? But just as the fort began to take shape, Alex's voice cut through the moment. What happened to the big family gatherings we used to have? I miss those. Jack froze, his heart skipping a beat. Would he even be able to confront the truth of their absence? As he looked at Dave, unease flooded back. They had so much to tackle, and one thing was clear, the real journey was just beginning. The sun began to dip lower, casting long shadows that danced around Alex as he crouched, eagerly piling up sticks for the fort. Jack watched him, a mix of joy and sadness swelling within him. The boy was so hopeful, so full of life. It tugged at something deep inside Jack, a nostalgia he wasn't sure how to handle. Hey, Alex, Jack said softly, kneeling beside him. Do you remember when we used to have those big family gatherings? The ones with all the food and games? Alex looked up, his face brightening. Yeah. We played capture the flag, and Grandma made those amazing cookies. Jack's heart tightened at the mention of Grandma. Those gatherings had been a lifeline, a way to connect, filled with laughter and love. But gradually, they had slipped away, like sand through fingers. What do you miss the most about them? He asked, genuinely curious. I miss seeing everyone. Alex exclaimed, his voice bubbling with innocence. And the stories Uncle Sam told about his crazy adventures. Why don't we do that anymore? Jack exchanged a glance with Dave, who stood a few feet away, arms crossed, brow furrowed. There was a silence, thick and heavy, as they both contemplated the question Alex had thrown into the air. The truth is, Jack started, feeling the weight of the moment come crashing down. We lost our way. Life got complicated. Dave sighed, finally stepping forward. We let the little things get in the way of the big things. We stopped reaching out to each other. But that's not right. Alex interjected, shaking his head. Family should always stick together. The passion in his voice was infectious, and Jack felt a spark of determination ignite in him. You're right, buddy, Jack replied, the words feeling like a promise. We should work on that. We can start with you. How about we plan a family gathering? Get everyone together, like old times? A wide smile spread across Alex's face. Yes. I want to see everyone again. Jack looked at Dave, who appeared taken aback by the suggestion. What do you think? Jack probed, trying to gauge Dave's reaction. I don't know. It's a big step, Dave admitted, his tone cautious. But it's a step toward healing, Jack pushed gently. Isn't that what we talked about? Facing things that hurt us so we can rebuild? Dave shifted uncomfortably, the tension between them reigniting. It's not that simple, Jack. People haven't just forgotten. There's hurt, unresolved feelings, I get that. But maybe a family gathering could be the start of mending those fences. Jack felt a surge of hope. We can create new memories, ones that override the bad ones. Or we could drive each other away further, Dave countered, his eyes darkening. Silence hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. Jack's heart raced, knowing they were on the precipice of something momentous. He glanced at Alex, whose excitement was palpable, softening the heaviness of their conversation. Let's just try, Jack urged, his voice steady. We owe it to ourselves and to Alex. To find a way back to each other. Dave hesitated, weighing the emotional risks against the possibility of rekindling something beautiful. I'll think about it, he finally said, his expression one of cautious consideration. Relief surged through Jack, but he knew that it wasn't a definite yes. It was a crack of light, and he was willing to nurture it. Together, with Alex's unwavering hope, they could bridge the gaps. As they settled back into their fort building, laughter bubbled up anew. Jack felt a renewed sense of possibility sparkling between the three of them. But he understood, deep down, that the real work lay ahead. That night, when darkness settled in and the stars twinkled overhead, Jack couldn't shake off a sense of urgency. Would Dave truly open the door to family? Would they risk the pain of the past to forge a new path forward? As he prepared for bed, Jack's thoughts raced through the possibilities. Could they really reclaim their family, or had too much time passed? And in the distance, as he gazed out into the night sky, he couldn't help but wonder, what if the past still had power over them? Waiting to trip them up when they least expected it? The morning dawned with a vibrant sky, signaling a new chapter for the Thompsons. Jack stood by the window, watching Alex race across the yard, his laughter ringing like a melody. The yard was alive, just like their spirits. Today was the day they would gather the family. After last night's conversation, Jack felt an exhilarating mixture of hope and trepidation. He was determined to bridge the gaps, starting with a simple gathering. He glanced at his phone, still empty in its promise of messages. Jack couldn't shake the feeling that this was their moment to redefine family. "Grandpa. Come on." Alex called, his bright energy infectious. "We need to get the invitations out." Jack felt a flutter of pride wash over him. It was this very spark of enthusiasm that had nudged him towards reconciliation. "All right, champ," he shouted back, a smile breaking across his face. "Let us make it special." Together, they worked on the invitations, crafting a simple yet heartfelt message: "Join us for a family gathering to remember the past and create new memories." Jack watched as Alex decorated each card with colorful doodles and stickers, embodying the innocent joy that family gatherings once brought. Together, they folded, sealed, and delivered the invitations, their spirits dancing with possibility. The day of the gathering arrived, and the backyard transformed into a bustling hub of activity. Family members trickled in, some wearing nervous smiles, others carrying apprehensions that hung heavy in the air. Jack felt the old tree's shade blanketing them with familiarity, but it now felt more fragile, carrying both old memories and the weight of new beginnings. "Hey there, stranger!" a voice boomed, breaking through the tension. It was Uncle Sam, a warm smile stretching from ear to ear. The air shifted, laughter bubbling as Jack helped him set up the old grill. The mood lightened, smoothing out the edges of unspoken words and past grievances. Alex darted around, his energy infectious, pulling cousins into games of tag, laughter echoing like music. Jack took a moment, glancing over at Dave, who had arrived but stood awkwardly with his hands shoved in his pockets, eyes darting between his family as if he were a stranger in an old, familiar film. "Hey, Dave," Jack called softly, making his way toward his brother. "You doing all right?" Dave offered a tentative smile, his relief palpable as he stepped closer. "Yeah, I just didn't expect so many people. It's been a long time since I've seen everyone together." The heaviness that darkened his eyes slightly lifted. "With them here, maybe we can make it a bit more light, like the old days?" Jack suggested. "Let us create new stories together." Just then, Alex scooted over, nearly vibrating with excitement. "Uncle Dave. Come play." His innocent enthusiasm echoed the weekend joys of their childhood. Jack watched something change in Dave's expression, a flicker of something beyond fear or doubt. "All right, I'm in," Dave replied, a genuine smile forming. The tree surged with laughter as the family came to life. Old grievances folded into the backbeat of joy.as the party continued. Jack felt the warmth of connection rekindle. They gathered around the grill, savoring delicious food, sharing familiar stories filled with laughter, and recalling lost memories. Jack felt a shift. The atmosphere turned lighter, the walls that had once separated them crumbling piece by piece. "To family." Jack raised a glass, and echoing cheers rang out. But as dusk settled, Jack sensed a yearning to address the unspoken. "Can I have everyone's attention?" The laughter faded into a curious hush, eyes turning toward him. We've all had our share of hurts and misunderstandings. But today proves that we can come together, despite it all. Family is about love and growth, and we can rewrite our story, Jack said, glancing toward Dave, who nodded, a hint of understanding passing between them. And we should never forget that it's okay to lean on each other, Dave added, stepping forward. We've let time slip away. But I want to change that starting now. A wave of relief washed over the gathering, as shoulders relaxed and smiles spread. Finding joy won't erase the past, but it can help us build something new. Jack finished, the air brimming with new promises. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting warm hues of orange and pink, Jack couldn't help but feel a sense of triumph blossoming inside him. The laughter of family swept through the evening air, blending seamlessly with the beginnings of healing. What about another gathering soon? Alex piped up, his excitement palpable. Jack laughed, the warmth flooding through him. Absolutely. Why not? They stood united, smiling at each other as hope lingered in the air. Jack felt a full heart. This was it. The chance to reclaim their family, not just from ghosts of the past but to create a vibrant new future, together. They were ready to face whatever would come next, not alone but hand in hand, and as laughter swirled around them, Jack knew deep in his heart this was just the beginning. Now more than ever, it's your turn to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire transformation and connection. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the joy flowing. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful end, let your voice be heard, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans know the importance of showing their support right away.